All right, hey everybody, it's John Paduchak.
And Ted Wasco. Sorry about the delay, but John's live didn't come up for about 5 seconds. I nearly spoke, but I thought, no, I'll let John carry on.
Yeah, and we're here to talk today about our WebinarJam. We did an update on WebinarJam, a little new WebinarJam review, and so we're going to talk a little bit about some updates with WebinarJam and, of course, some updates with our WebinarJam bonus. So with no further ado, I'm going to go over and share my screen and kind of give you an idea of both what you get with WebinarJam as well as what's new and different in it. Because two of the big things that come up all the time, Ted, are, what are the components of WebinarJam? So what are the one-time offers that I'm going to be presented with as I look at it? And then the second thing, of course, is what are some of the major features of it? So the big thing that you're going to see as you look at purchasing WebinarJam is you're going to get presented with different options. And the options, as you can see, are WebinarJam, the product by itself, to allow you to do webinars. Webinar Genesis Coaching Program, which is a whole marketing program and coaching about how to produce great webinars. Evergreen Business System is the automated webinar system. So if we create something, create a great webinar with WebinarJam, and then we want to repurpose it and use it over and over again, showing it on Facebook or showing it as an automated webinar that we just keep inviting people to, we can use Evergreen Business Systems to do that. And of course, Genesis Labs Mastermind is something that Andy and Mike put together so that you're able to find out about some of the cutting-edge tools that they're using all the time to in their business, and decide whether it's something that makes sense for you. So here I am over at the WebinarJam members area, and not an awful lot has changed here. As far as the actual look of the membership area itself. You will notice, however, though, that one new area that has been added since our very first review is training. So they do have some training here on really basic training on Hangouts. Not anything really very thorough, but just to kind of give you a general run through of Google Hangouts. And if we come into my webinars, and I'm just going to come down here, you've got an area where you can get your links for each webinar. You can view the analytics, and of course you can edit. And I'm just going to edit, clone, or delete a particular webinar, but I'm just going to go in and edit one just so you can see what's here and see something that's already pre-filled. The thing I always love here, Ted, is that they've got the training as you go all the way through it. You start right out with a basic tutorial, and then each step has its own tutorial along the way.
Yes, that is very, very good because there's no confusion. They can stop the video, do what it says on there, and then go back to the video. So yes, it's step by step, covered by video.
Exactly, and you can see each step right in the upper corner here has video help every piece of the way. Here's a new thing that's been added recently: what language you're using. So they've got a variety of different languages. I know they've had WebinarJam customers do a lot of the translation for this, mostly because they already know the terminology that they're using. It's not too awful much that's changed in the very front here. You can see that we just have the basic run through, the basic setup options of your description, your title, being able to add moderators, and set up for right now or schedule a webinar for later. I'm going to go through and I'm going to set this up as if I'm editing it and I'm scheduling a webinar for later. I'm just going to set something up for fun for later today, just so I can show you the new registration pages that have been added. I'm going to find Easter time here where I am, and there have been some new registration templates that have been put in. And if we go through, you can kind of see that there's a number of different things available here. And we're starting to get into some new ones that have been added fairly recently, over the last couple of months. Maybe even more recently. That's a very lead pages oriented type one. So they've got something that actually mimics some lead pages. And of course, you can always do your own custom design as well still. Registration hasn't changed. You know, you still have name, email, phone number, one-step or two-step registration. Biggest thing going through when you're working in WebinarJam is to make sure that you save at each step of the way. Lots of people get messed up with that, don't they, Ted?
I certainly do, and also if you decide to clone one, make sure you resave it.
Exactly, and save each step again, because once you clone it, you know, you may think that it's okay and just save the step you change, but don't just count on that. Make sure you save each piece all the way along. We still have free and charge to register. Notifications have changed a little bit. There have been some changes in some of the welcome emails, the way notifications work. So there have been a few little minor changes here, but nothing too major. Integrations, you definitely have seen some changes here. We still have add registrants to our mailing list, but now we can integrate with Google Analytics. You can integrate with your own custom tracking pixel. So if you're using you know, something like AdTrax Gold, or you're doing integration with Facebook retargeting or Google retargeting, and there's a specific integrate with Facebook here as well. That's an option. So you can see that's here as well for retargeting and conversion tracking. So those are new things that have been really widely asked for as well. No major changes in thank you area or the countdown. Live page has seen some changes though. We've got pre-configured polls. So when WebinarJam first came out, you couldn't pre-configure your polls. You literally had to do them on the fly. And for somebody really trying to do a webinar on their own, that can be, you know, a major league extra bunch of work while you're trying to carry on a conversation if you don't have support staff to help you with that. We see people get stuck in that all the time, don't we, Ted?
Certainly do, because it's very hard to multitask, especially when you're on live, trying to keep the actual Hangout going, looking and watching for what's coming in, and then you're actually trying to configure an offer or a poll on the fly. So yes, very hard.
Yeah, I mean, much easier if you can enable them ahead of time. And of course, we also have the pre-recorded video. Now, pre-recorded video, or what they call the hybrid video, has had some challenges. And I'd still say it has some, but it's been vastly improved over what it has been in the past. So they're making some significant progress in getting that fixed. And we've been testing that regularly to make sure that, you know, it's coming along and it's up to par, especially since we have the WebinarJam users group of our own, GM Sessions Made Easy on Google+. You know, we've got a large group of people that are regular avid users of WebinarJam, so we're pretty up on everything that's going on with it. Offering the webinar replay to your users, again, you've got the ability to offer the actual replay, pre-recorded video of your choice, so it could be the stitched together video that you've put together ahead of time of your webinar. Or you can redirect them to a URL of your choice, either your own site, whatever it might be. We still have the ability to put an expiration on the replay. And of course now one thing that's new is being able to keep the replay video private or make it public. And that has been a big issue as well as we've kind of gone along with this, hasn't it, Ted?
Yeah, people did complain that they wanted to keep it private, and if people had stumbled on it, they could actually still see it because they've still got it up. The good thing about this, I mean, say, yes, it's not perfect, but if we find things that aren't quite right in that, Hector, who is the main person that we talk to, who's one of the partners involved in this, he does listen, and he takes it, I mean, say, we got in touch with him on Skype or G+, and that. So when we find stuff, we pass it on to him, and they do take action. Sometimes it takes a little while to do, but they do work on things, and they're still working on there to improve it. From when it first came out, we thought it was good then, but they've made a lot of improvements, and they are still making improvements. You know, Rome wasn't built in a day, And
That's for
um,
sure.
yeah, so that's what you've got to remember. This was brand new technology that they were doing. They didn't have anywhere to fall back on, and that. So yeah, they are doing a good job. But as I say, there was one or two things that aren't quite right, and especially if you compare it to one of the webinar platforms and that. But if you put what you pay for this system against any of the other ones, then this is a great deal.
It is, and I mean, we feel pretty confident that they're going to get things straightened out. You know, everything takes a little bit of time. Right now, the only real kind of rough patch we see is in the hybrid module, but we think they'll get that squared away. It's just going to take a little bit of time to do that. We still have miscellanea here where we can put in our affiliate URL so that people who like our webinars can go and purchase their own copy of WebinarJam. Many people ask for a white label version of this. I don't see WebinarJam doing that. Hector said a number of times that there's no plans for it. So if that's something that you're looking for and it's a deal breaker for you, that's one thing I wouldn't expect to have happen, is to have that white labeled version of it. But in the grand scheme of things, you know, it gives you an opportunity to perhaps sell a copy of WebinarJam and put some cash in your pocket. So I don't really see a major problem with that. And of course, publishing the webinar, you know, we've got publish button here and the ability now to separately send email links to the admins, which initially that was not an option. It was here as publish, and it automatically sent the links to your other admins. This is great because a lot of times the admins don't get the emails or something happens, and it gives you a chance to send them over again just prior to your webinar. Analytics, not a lot has changed with it. It's still pretty much set up as was before. So you know, again, no major changes here. But you know, just kind of an overview of some of the things that have occurred. Most of the changes that I've seen, you know, I can't believe really they've done a good job and changed them quite quickly. So I'm going to pop back out of here for a moment, but at least, you know, it gives you a good overview of WebinarJam, things that have changed. Again, significant changes in the hybrid video, significant changes in the you now have some access to the API to WebinarJam as well, so you can customize some of it or have some of it customized by maybe some of the programmers you work with. So good stuff going forward as far as I can see.
Yeah, one thing I will say that keeps cropping up and is what do you use WebinarJam for? And basically, it's when you want to hold a webinar, you've got something to sell. This is the ideal platform for it. If you're doing just training, then there's no need to use WebinarJam. You can actually just do Hangouts on air and make them private by going to you know, YouTube and either doing it through live and that. So you know, basically, if you're doing training and you want to keep things private, then just use the Hangout. If you want to do webinar style where you're selling to lots of people, this is the ideal tool because you've got live chat there. It happens as you know, as soon as you put something down and send it, they see it. One thing that that keeps cropping up is about the delay on here. They blame WebinarJam, and that's users who don't really understand the technology of Hangouts. Usually there's about a 30-second delay. Some people say it's longer, but when we first started it was over 60 seconds. They've got it down for us about 30 seconds. That hasn't varied on there at all. So you've just got to get used to actually say that you're doing a poll. You start talking about that poll around about 30 seconds before you click the button to send that poll. And that way, the people that are listening to it in the live page will then get it more or less the same time. A lot of people now are starting to get used to that delay, and it doesn't affect them, because if you've got, especially if you've got somebody helping you, which we highly recommend when you're doing these, whether it's just a normal Hangout or on WebinarJam, is if you've got somebody there that can help you and monitor, it makes life so much easier.
Yeah, there's a lot of controls to kind of monitor on your own. It's so much easier if you've got an assistant or somebody helping you out, a partner, business partner, etc., that can be on the webinar with you. You know, the other thing that we run into quite frequently is the issues that people bring up that really, again, they aren't WebinarJam issues. They're issues with knowing Google Hangouts well. It's not a push-button solution. You're not going to be an instant expert at Google Hangouts just by starting up a WebinarJam. WebinarJam is great for getting your word out to larger audiences. We still use Google Hangouts by themselves if we've got an audience of, say, 50 or less. You know, it's really to get your message out to the masses. If you're going to be selling via webinar, that's really the purpose of using WebinarJam over maybe using Hangouts by itself. So each has kind of their place. And the next thing that's kind of a major deal, like I said, is when we see issues that people are having with WebinarJam, it's usually not WebinarJam, and it's usually not Google Hangouts. The issue is they aren't hardwired. They're trying to work off of a Wi-Fi connection. They don't have the right equipment. They don't have the equipment set up properly. So that's really all about knowing Google Hangouts better. It's not a WebinarJam scenario. So the two work together. You really need to know them both, and that's where our bonus comes in. So if you're looking for great Hangouts training to go along with your purchase of WebinarJam, you might want to think about getting WebinarJam through us, because we offer that Hangouts training. We have our Hangouts Made Easy course, light course, that we have as a bonus, and shortly we're going to have a special Jam Sessions Made Easy. And you also get access to our community Jam Sessions Made Easy, where you can ask all your WebinarJam questions. We've got a group now of, over 1,100 users of WebinarJam as part of our Google Plus community. So lots of people to ask there when you run into a challenge and you need a question answered in a hurry. People who are more than happy to share the wealth of information that they have. So anyways, if you're looking for a great bonus to go along with your purchase of WebinarJam, look no further and check out the description below. And you'll see our affiliate link. If you purchase it through us, do get in touch with me or get in touch with Ted. We're pretty easy to find on Google Plus, and we'll get you set up with Hangouts Made Easy. Get you set up as part of the Jam Sessions Made Easy group community. And hey, hope to see you on the inside. It's a great product. I don't think you could make a better purchase if you're really into webinars. You want something that's not going to be a tremendous load on your site, because it's not a WordPress plugin. It's an actual Hangouts app. So it works very smooth and seamlessly with Google Hangouts. Anything you'd like to add to that, Ted?
No. I think if people are interested in this, certainly get it through us, because nobody offers the bonus that we do, because it's our product. And not only that, if you like the light version, we do offer other products in conjunction with that yes, you'll have to pay for, but once you see the material in the light, I'm sure that you'll see the quality that you're getting and can get. So we don't push it at all, so it'll be a choice up to you, but we always over deliver. If you get it through us and get in the community, you've only got to ask the community what we're like, and they will soon tell you. So apart from that, John, I think I'm going to say bye for now.
Bye for now. And I am going to add one thing, since we did talk about the training that we offer as a bonus. Just so you know, we do offer complete training in Google Plus, YouTube. Hangcasting is a new training that we're working on. So if you're interested in going further than just WebinarJam and just Hangouts, and you really want to see how the whole picture pulls together, hey, talk to us. We'd be glad to tell you about what we're doing. So on that note, bye for now. Thanks for considering a purchase of WebinarJam through us. And again, if you do, get in touch. We'll set you up right away. And have a great day. Thanks for joining us.
Bye.